1, 2.
Hi guys, we're live.
Live will be in with you in a minute. We're just going to let things get set up, and then we'll get started. Creator Studio.
Come up here.
All right, go lay down. Down. Down.
You go ahead and start.
Okay.
Come on. Okay. Enough. You wanna? Are we on there? So far, not receiving video. Huh.
Oh, wait, it just went good.
Oh, sweet. Hi guys. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty. We have a big fire here in Colorado, and it's not doing so well with our internet, but we're gonna try this. How do you tell?
Can we click on it? All right. Well, we're gonna get started, I guess. We'll see how this goes. Oh, try that one. Oh, there's Kevin.
Hey Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
I always rely on you to be here.
Can you hear us okay, Kevin?
That's really delayed. This live thing doesn't work very well most of the time.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Thanks,
So,
Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. So at least we know it's going to be recording halfway decent. So, I'm Justin, and this is Stacy. We're both from Opting Out of Normal. We are currently in Salida, Colorado. We're in between fires, so cell service may be kind of sketchy, but we're going to try to make it through the best we can. Today we are going to discuss some of the different battery bank options that are available to RVers. Some of the different options to help you calculate, design, and build a battery bank for your RV. Whether you're looking for just making it through the weekend, extended stay, full time like we are, it all comes down to trying to make your life a little easier. So we're going to start by basically what the battery bank is for. The battery bank is essentially the key part of your off-grid solar install. The battery bank is going to hold and store all of the energy whether it's energy that it receives from when you start your generator and run your charger that way, or through solar panels bolted either to the roof or laid out in a ground deploy system. The battery bank is what is actually used in order to store that energy. Um, if your battery bank is too small, you're not going to have enough to make it through what you want to accomplish. So it's pretty important to come up with the proper sizing for your battery bank. Um, the the key parts, or the main the main idea behind the battery bank is you want to size it uh, to what your needs are. There's going to be a couple issues or a couple things you need to consider, some considerations to help you properly size the battery bank. Um, and we'll get into some of those in a minute. Um, but uh, One of the big things that I highly recommend, uh, if you are unsure of how much current you use, how much energy you use, the big thing that I recommend is that you sit down, uh, you calculate your usage. Um, are you a high electrical user, 110 volt user? Are you looking at installing an inverter? Are you a simple weekend warrior? Then you just want your batteries to make it over a weekend. Um, to help calculate your numbers, what I recommend is you pick up a battery monitor such as this one made by Victron. This happens to be a really nice kit. I definitely recommend it. I will post a link to them down below. You can pick them up off Amazon for just over $200. It's $200 well spent. In my opinion, if you purchase and install one of these battery monitors, it'll definitely give you a good idea, one, of the current status of your batteries, what kind of state of charge they have in them, um, and it'll help you analyze, what your usage is, help you decide, how big your battery bank should be. The couple things to consider: um, how long you're going to be, how long you're going to run without a recharging source, um, how much power you're actually going to draw. Temperature outside is a big thing for that. Whether or not you're going to be running your heater on a regular basis, or you're going to be powering fans to help circulate the air in the trailer, or what kind of lighting system you have inside your trailer. Those are all key factors that you need to identify and evaluate prior to being able to properly size your battery bank. Um, these nowadays used in RVs, the typical battery banks. I'm not going to get into the 24 volt systems, or the lithium battery banks that people are putting together with the Tesla battery banks, or the uh, the the Echo battery banks. Um, I'm talking typical, run of the mill 12 volt battery banks that you can, everyone can easily install without needing an electrical engineering degree. Um, the batteries right now, you can classify them, break them down into three different types. You have your lead acid batteries, your filled lead acid batteries. Uh, they've been around for a long time. They are they are the cheapest model, or the cheapest battery that's going to be available, or I should say the least expensive style battery that will be available. The the next up from that would be the AGM type batteries. The AGM batteries, they basically have the same principles as a regular flooded lead acid battery. The however, AGM, you don't have the maintenance requirements involved with the flooded lead acid batteries. Hang on, I need a drink.
I think the humidity is at 10% today in Colorado. We're dying here.
Yes, yes, it is definitely kind of tough. So, the third type of battery that is becoming more and more prevalent are the lithium type batteries. Um, there's a couple different manufacturers out there. Um, if you've been paying attention to the channel and uh, paying attention to the if you've been on the RV solar DIY install group for a while, you've probably heard that I've been involved in a few installs. And some of those installs have dealt with some rather large lithium battery banks. Uh, the the batteries were battle-born lithium batteries, and I'll get into a little bit more of those here in a little bit. A little later on. Definitely a good product. Um, if you can, bottom line, if you can afford to pay up front, because eventually you're going to pay. So if you can afford to pay up front, there's a lot of savings to be had, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So your flooded lead acid batteries.
Say it 5 times.
Yeah, 5 times. You say it 5 times
No,
fast. So the flooded lead acid batteries. Some of the pros and cons. Pros. You can build a pretty extensive battery bank for a fairly reasonable price. Um, the I am currently running 6 flooded lead acid 6-volt GC2 Duracell batteries. They have been a great battery bank. They store plenty of power for us. Each battery is a 6-volt, 230 amp hour battery. Now, when you combine them together into a 12-volt series parallel battery bank, it breaks down to giving us 690 amp hours of battery bank. One of the drawbacks to both the lead acid and the AGM type batteries is that they recommend that you do not draw them lower than 50%. You can greatly shorten the lifespan of those batteries by using them below 50%. And again, that's one of the reasons why I recommend that one of your purchases should be a good battery monitor. Something with a shunt in right there. So the definitely recommend a good battery gauge or battery monitor to give you an idea of where your batteries are as far as state of charge. The cons of some of the lead acid batteries, well, most lead acid batteries, is that they are comprised of lead. Lead is heavy. So each one of my batteries weighs between 65 and 68 pounds apiece. So when you break that down times 6, you're looking at 360, 380, almost 380 pounds of battery. You'll also need a storage box to keep those batteries vented, because you don't want that just billowing. You don't want the fumes to just flow around your trailer. You need to keep them vented because they off gas a gas that is flammable, and it's not good for your electronics. So you have a heavier battery bank, a 380-pound battery bank, plus another 20 or 30 pounds for your vented storage box. Just something to keep in mind. Uh, if you're going to go the lead acid route, you will have the weight and the extra requirements of keeping the batteries vented to the outside. Along with, uh, you can alleviate that with buying the AGM batteries. Um, the benefits, the pros of the AGM batteries, you will have uh, less maintenance. They do not off gas like the lead acid batteries do. The uh, sometimes the charge rates are a little bit better. They're built specific, so the plates are a little heavier duty, but you still have the weight concern, and you're still limited to 50% discharge when you utilize those batteries. Now, when you're using both the when you're using both the lead acid and the AGM batteries, you can greatly increase the number of cycles, or the number of times that you use that battery. You can greatly increase that output if you keep the battery 7% charge. So, um, and then if you look at all the charts, and I'll post in the bottom some of the some links to some charts to give you an idea. Um, Lead acid, how you can greatly increase the number of cycles of the battery by not discharging those batteries as deep. So when you go to calculate your battery bank size, what you need to take that into consideration. If you're going to, if you properly size your battery bank to so that you're always going to maintain uh, definitely above 50%, but between 70 and 80% state of discharge before you get to recharge those, you're definitely going to increase your life out of those batteries. And again, it's the longer you can go without having to replace your batteries, the less it's going to cost you in the long run. But eventually, you're going to end up paying. And that's where lithium batteries come into play. Lithium batteries, the pros to the lithium batteries is that when you uh, when you go to size your battery bank, a lithium battery is rated at 100 amp hours per battery. Or right now, the Battleborns are rated at 100 amp hours per battery. The thing with lithium is that as long as they have the onboard battery management system, the way the Battleborns do, it's just a matter of dropping it in, and you can use 100 amp hours out of that battery before there's an issue. Before you have to, before the battery will disconnect itself and protect itself so that there's no damage. So instead of having to size your battery bank with the 50 to 80% state of charge rolled into the sizing of your battery bank, you're going to be able to get away with a much smaller battery bank. Now, that's going to do two things. The Battleborn batteries are 29 pounds a piece, 30 pounds a piece. So when you match that with the fact that now your battery requirements are also cut in half compared to a standard lead acid or AGM battery, you are going to be able to you're going to be able to save money because you're not going to have to buy as many batteries. Um, and when you break it down, the a lithium battery compared to a lead acid battery, um, you may be shocked at the number of amp hours that you can get out of a lithium compared to the average lead acid battery. And I'll also post links to that below from the Battleborn site, where they actually broke down the 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 cost difference between a typical lead acid battery compared to a lithium battery, and uh, in the long run, when you're talking about complete or the cycles of battery use, um, it works out way cheaper for the lithium. So the some of the maintenance that is involved, again, with the uh, with the lead acid and the AGM, definitely need to monitor your.
Do you want me to do Vanna White?
No, that's okay.
I can do Vanna White.
No, you definitely need to rely on your battery gauge, your battery monitor, to make sure that you do not go below 50%. You'll definitely want to throw a charging source, whether that's solar, uh, which we will be talking about in 2 weeks. If you again will join us, we are going to try to keep our times uh, consistent at 5:30 Mountain Time. So the uh, yes, it's going to be kind of early for anyone that's watching in California. I apologize, but I really don't want to go too late for the people on the East Coast that want to watch this. So for those that want to go live, or that want to be live with us, um, we're going to try to keep it 5:30 Mountain Time. That and our plans right now are going to have us for the next, hopefully for the next couple months, we're going to stay within the Mountain Time, the time zone. So, so we're going to try to keep it the same time throughout. Back to maintenance. With the lead acid batteries, you I recommend at least monthly. You're going to have to go in and make sure that there's enough water inside the batteries, because as you go through charge cycles, you will lose water inside the batteries. Um, the You can check the specific gravity to make sure that the cells are within a set amount of each other. Um, if they start getting too far out of whack from each other, if they're not within a couple points of each other, as far as the specific gravity, it is recommended that you do an equalization charge. Equalization only applies to the lead acid batteries. So later on, when looking for chargers, when you hear of a 4-stage charger, equalization being one of them, the only one that's applicable to is going to be your lead acid batteries. So, the AGMs, you don't have the watering capabilities. You can position AGMs in a few more spots. You don't have as much. There is a slight amount of off-gassing, especially when the batteries are new, that you'll want to be a little bit more considerate about. But the you don't have to worry as much about making sure that they are actually vented out to the outside. You can store lead acid batteries into the same compartment as the AGM batteries you can store in the same compartment with your other electronics, your inverters, your inverter chargers, all of that, without any issues of the system or the gases affecting your electronics. The lithiums, there's definitely a lot of pros. You have the weight factor to it. The recharge rate is way higher compared to a lead acid or an AGM. And the way that breaks down is that the lead acid or the AGM batteries, as the state of charge increases above 80 to 85%. Most chargers will switch to an absorb cycle and continue to charge the batteries at a higher voltage to help top off your batteries. When you're relying on a generator um, or solar, once you get to that point, your amperage is going to start to decrease. The batteries are going to charge a lot slower getting up to that point. With lithiums, up to 98%, you can charge them up to full amperage output of your chargers. As far as Battleborn recommends 50 amps per battery. So if you have 2 batteries, two of the Battleborn batteries, 100 amps at being pushed into those batteries is no problem. So the charge rate is definitely faster. The lithium batteries nowadays, especially the Battleborns, because I've had some opportunity to talk with them because of the project that I've been involved in. There's definitely the BMS system that is on that Battleborn battery system is a whole lot safer. The compounds that are made inside the Battleborn lithium battery is a whole lot safer than all those lithium batteries that you hear about in the cell phones and the laptops that have had all the fire issues and the what was that one riding board? Anyway, the
Hoverboard.
the hoverboard. You will not have any of those issues out of the Battleborn battery.